Before the college entrance exams, the 8 of us in our dorm took birth control pills together to prevent our periods. As it turned out, her scheming roommate, Chin Manny, secretly replaced our medication the day before the college entrance exam with sleeping pills. In my previous life, I realized something was wrong, so I rushed everyone to the hospital that very night to have their stomachs pumped, and that's how we managed not to miss the college entrance exam. But Chin Manny was crying her eyes out in my boyfriend's arms. I just didn't want them to get hurt. And I wanted everyone to get a good night's sleep. What did I do wrong? My boyfriend was so worried about me that he poisoned my drink at the graduation party. Manny meant well. If she doesn't get into college, she can always take the exam again. What gives you the right to yell at her? Even the 6 roommates I saved scoffed. Exactly. It's not like a few points less on a test will kill you. She just loves to show off. And that's what's making Manny depressed. In the scuffle, I rolled down the stairs. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day when a few of us had agreed to take the medicine together. A few of us even have our periods around the same time. Let's do it together. Everyone in the dorm is eating. If you don't eat, won't you seem like an outsider? Chin Manny tugged at my arm. And everyone's eyes turned to me. She said her older sister went through the same thing without any side effects and was still able to perform well on the college entrance exam. In my previous life, it was her attitude that convinced May thought she had a point. And I didn't want my period to interfere with the most important exam of my life. I pulled my arm back with a blank expression. I have my own plans. Oh my gosh. Qing Yu, what's wrong with you? Zhou Qing said impatiently. Manny's only looking out for everyone's best interest, Siri, the only one who's different. Exactly. If you end up with a stomachache, we won't have time to take care of you. One by one, voices chimed in. Just then, my boyfriend Shinja sent me a message. What are you up to? Mani said your dorm mates are going to take medicine together to prepare for the exam. She's such a clever little thing, she's always coming up with great ideas like that. Even through the screen, I can picture the look of tenderness on his face. I can't believe I was so blind I never saw his true colors before. Right now, I could kick myself. Manny is innocent and kind-hearted. Don't always try to figure her out with those dark thoughts you use when writing essays. I turned off my phone. I didn't want to look at it anymore. Seeing that I wasn't swayed, Chin Manny's eyes welled up with tears, and she turned to the others. Never mind. Never mind. Maybe Yaya thinks my idea isn't any good. It's my fault, I'll think it over. As she spoke, she lowered her head, her shoulders trembling slightly, as if I had wronged her. Dorm leader Li Shuo walked over and patted her on the back. Qing Yu, you're such a drama queen, you're the only one who's so high maintenance. Manny was just trying to help everyone out of the goodness of her heart. And you're not even grateful. It's a tried and true method. It won't kill you. And it can help us prevent our periods from starting unexpectedly. How great is that? Exactly. Exactly. We're the top students' dorm, so no one can let something like this affect their performance. Right. Looking at this room full of good people who were all nodding in agreement, I just wanted to laugh. All right. If you want to eat, then eat your fill. I took out my phone and, in front of everyone, started a live stream titled Witness the College Entrance Exam Miracle in Dorm 8A. It's up to you guys. I don't mind either way. I said. Chin Manny immediately stopped crying and broke into a smile. That's great. I knew Yaya was the best. I'll go buy medicine for everyone right now. I promise to get the safest kind. She skipped out the door. The other roommates also breathed a sigh of relief. And the dorm room was once again filled with laughter and cheerful chatter. They started discussing where to go for fun after the exams and which city to attend college in. With half a month left until the college entrance exam, our dorm has become the model dorm for the entire school. Every day, under Chin Manny's guidance, we turned off the lights on time and took the birth control pills she handed out on time. She put the medicine in a cute pink pill box, and every day after dinner, she would hand them out to us one by one like a little angel, then watch to make sure we took them. Let's do our best today, too. She always cheered us on with that annoyingly cheery tone of hers. As for Shinja, he treated her like a treasure. He would go out of his way to buy hot milk, wait for Chin Manny downstairs, and tell her she was the little ray of sunshine for all of us. Then Chin Manny would hold up that glass of milk, pass it around to everyone in the dorm, and say in a sweet, girlish voice, "This is a little something from Brother Shinsha for all of you, let's share it together." I never drink. Every time Chin Manny offered it to me, I turned it down right away. "Thanks, but I'm not used to the taste." She would pout in a hurt way, then turn to Li Shui and the others and whisper, "Is Ye still mad at me? I really didn't mean to steal Brother Shinsha's attention. As for me, every day I hide my pill under my tongue and, when they aren't looking, spit it into a bottle I've set aside for that purpose. I go live right on time every day after evening study hall. So my live stream has built up a following. Witnessing the college entrance exam miracle in Dorm 8A was already a hot topic in its own right. Through the lens, the pills in that glass bottle kept piling up. The comments started to get interesting. I have a persecution complex. I always feel like the people who give me my medication are up to something. Exactly. I also think her acting is way too over the top. I looked into it. And while long-term use of short-acting birth control pills can indeed regulate menstrual cycles, unmarried women who have not yet had children should avoid doing so if possible, as the consequences can be serious. That's right. The consequences are serious. It's serious enough to ruin a person's entire life. 3 days before the college entrance exam, Shinsha suddenly arranged heart-shaped candles downstairs to wish Chin Manny good luck on her exam. It's not a confession of love, but it's just as good as one. Wearing the skirt I had just bought, Chin Manny stood in the candlelight, her eyes brimming with tears as she was overcome with emotion, surrounded by friends cheering her on. My roommates were all there, too. They pushed me to the back of the crowd and shouted excitedly, "Manny, you're so lucky." Shinsha made his way through the crowd and came up to me. Yeah. Don't read too much into it. Manny said she's been under a lot of stress lately and her mock exam scores dropped by several places. I thought I'd cheer her up a bit after all. She isn't as resilient as you are. He paused for a moment and shoved his hands into his pockets. You're my girlfriend, so of course you wouldn't mind something this small. If you did, that would be really petty. I stared at him. So your logic is that just because I'm your girlfriend, I should give way to other girls? What do you mean, give in? Shinsha frowned. You and Manny are so close, can't you just be a little more generous? She's so fragile, what's the harm in showing her a little more compassion? It's not like anyone's trying to take your place as her boyfriend. After he finished speaking, he glanced back at Chin Manny, who was being surrounded by a crowd in the center of the room, then turned back to look at me. All right, I'll buy you a cup of milk tea tomorrow, too. Is that okay? I managed to hold back from swearing. Shinsha, let's break up. Yoha snapped. Is this really necessary? Just because of a few candles. It's not because of the candle. It's because you're not good enough for me. His face turned bright red. Chin Yu, how can you be like this? Manny was right, you're just too selfish. You only care about yourself. Chin Manny's voice came from behind her, choked with tears. Yeah. Did I do something wrong? Please don't fight because of me. It's all my fault. Shinsha immediately turned and ran over. Chin Yu, Manny is innocent and straightforward unlike you, who overthinks everything. Don't give her the cold shoulder anymore, or else there won't be a future for us. The result. I looked at his smug face. It was never going to work out between us anyway. With that, I turned and walked away. The night before the college entrance exam is the final push. In the dorm room, everyone was buried in their books, doing their final review. At 10:00 p.m., Chin Manny appeared right on time, holding her little pink medicine box. Girls, this is the last one. Let's finish it up and go to bed early so we can do well on the test tomorrow. She handed out the pills one by one, and when she got to me, she paused for a moment. Yeah, eat this, and you'll sleep soundly. I looked up and met her gaze. In front of her, he put the medicine in his mouth and took a sip of water. I pressed the pill against my upper palate with the tip of my tongue. Chin Manny smiled contentedly and patted me on the shoulder. Get some sleep early. Good night. She turned around to urge the others on. Ching ching. Hurry up and eat. Once you're done, let's put on face masks together. Shui. Come on. Stop looking at that. Your brain needs a break. 2. At her urging, everyone took that sleep aid, with face masks on. They were still daydreaming about the wonderful life that awaited them after the exams. I'm going to Sanya to soak up the sun and wear a bikini. I want to go to Beijing and see Tiananmen Square. Manny, what about you? Are you and your brother Shinja going on a graduation trip? Chin Manny smiled shyly. It's not set in stone yet, it depends on his schedule. There were over 400 people online in my live stream, but it was completely silent, no one was sending any comments. Then, I posted a comment in the live stream using my secondary account. Guess what would happen if the last pill in the pink pill box were swapped out? As soon as that comment was posted, the live stream went wild. Change the dressing. Are you kidding me? Changing the medication the day before the college entrance exam. What's the point of that? Are they trying to kill someone? Host. Quick. Take a look at that pill. Has it really been switched? I pointed the camera at my face and made ash gesture. He spit out the medicine, carefully wrapped it in a tissue, and put it in his pocket. After finishing all that, I lay back down on the bed, put on my headphones, and started listening to an English listening exercise. The area gradually grew quiet. First, Zhou Qing, her cell phone slipped from her hand and fell to the ground. Next was Li Shui, with a face mask on. She tilted her head to one side and fell asleep leaning against the headboard. In less than half an hour, everyone in the dorm except for me and Chin Manny, who looked full of anticipation, was fast asleep. Chin Manny tiptoed out of bed and checked them one by one. She nudged Zhou Qing, but she didn't react. She pinched Li Shui's cheek again, but Li Shui merely let out an unconscious grunt. She was finally certain that her plan had been a complete success. She walked over to my bed and, seeing me with my headphones on and my eyes closed, thought I'd fallen for it too. A smile that was both utterly malicious and deeply satisfying spread across her face. She took out her phone and snapped a group photo of the room full of sleeping girls. Then, she posted a message on her moments. I hope all my darlings get a good night's sleep and don't feel any pressure tomorrow. No matter the outcome, you're all the best. After sending the message, she returned to her own bed, feeling satisfied. She wanted to get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, she would be the only winner left in the exam hall. The comments section has gone wild. I called the police. This woman is so vicious. Oh my god. They really are sleeping pills. What is she trying to do? Make everyone miss the college entrance exam? This woman named Chin Manny has completely lost control of her facial expressions. That smile of hers gives me the chills even through the screen. Hurry up and figure something out. If I sleep like this, what am I going to do about the college entrance exam tomorrow? The phone screen was completely flooded with comments. The streamer has fallen asleep. Exactly. We're all about companionship. And now we've really seen how treacherous people can be. Call the police right away. That's right. Call the police. This is a matter of life and death. Netizens, seeing everyone had fallen asleep, were completely at their wits' end. Some people have already typed "IV called the police" in the comment stream. I rolled over, pulled the blanket up, and kept pretending to be asleep. I don't know how long it had been when a series of frantic knocks on the door suddenly rang out. Open the door. Is anyone in there? Open the door. Quick. Chin Manny, who was sleeping in the bed across from him, was startled awake. She grumbled a few impatient words and shuffled over in her slippers to open the door. No sooner had the lock been unscrewed than several police officers burst in. The dorm supervisor, trembling, turned on the overhead light. Officer, what's going on in the middle of the night? We have the college entrance exam tomorrow. Chin Manny backed away in panic, a look of innocence on her face. The police officer in charge didn't bother with her. He walked straight over to Zhou Qing, who was in the lower bunk, and gave her shoulder a firm shove. Classmate, wake up. Zhou Qing showed no reaction. Her head fell limply back onto the pillow. The police officer's expression changed, and he turned to tap Li Shui, who was in the bed next to her. Again, there was no response. Li Shui, who was usually the first to wake up, was sleeping soundly at that moment. "Call an ambulance right away," the lead officer shouted, turning to glare sharply at Chin Manny. "Someone called the police reporting a poisoning incident in your dorm." "What did they eat?" Chin Manny's legs gave way, and she collapsed onto the ground. I didn't poison them." Tears streamed down her face as she frantically waved her hands. "I just gave them medicine to regulate their menstrual cycles. They all took it willingly." "Can herbal medicine really make you look like this?" the police officer asked, looking at her. "Show me the medicine box." Chin Manny's hands trembled as she reached into the drawer for the little pink pill box. The shrill wail of an ambulance siren rang out downstairs. In less than 3 minutes, medical personnel rushed into the dormitory carrying a stretcher. "How many?" asked the emergency room doctor. "As far as we can tell, there are 6 people in a deep coma," the police officer reported quickly. Before long, the medical staff arrived at the dormitory as well. The doctor pulled back Zhou Qing's eyelids and shone a flashlight into her pupils. "Vital signs are stable, but the patient is in a deep coma. We strongly suspect poisoning from a high dose of sedative hypnotic drugs." The medical staff checked each person in turn. "Same here. Vital signs are stable, but the patient is in a deep coma. Suspected poisoning from a high dose of sedatives and hypnotics. Quick, take them all back to get their stomachs pumped." The cramped dorm room instantly descended into chaos. Stretchers came and went, and my unconscious roommates were carried away one by one. Chin Manny huddled by the door, trembling all over, unable to say a word. I was lying on the top bunk with my eyes closed the whole time, wearing headphones. It wasn't until a member of the medical staff climbed the ladder and slapped my leg hard that I came to. Classmates, can you hear me?" I sat up abruptly, yanked off my headphones, and rubbed my eyes. "Why is it so noisy? What's going on?" I looked around at all the police officers filling the room. The police officer in charge breathed a sigh of relief. "Are you okay? Did you take your medicine tonight?" Chin Manny suddenly looked up and stared intently at me. "Medicine? Oh, medicine, take your medicine." "No. I didn't eat it." I pulled the wad of tissues from under my pillow. I couldn't swallow it, so I spit it out. "Good thing you didn't eat it." "Classmate, do you know what kind of medicine this is?" the police officer asked. Chin Manny said, "This is a pill to delay your period." The police officer took a tissue and said, "Quick, show the doctor what kind of medicine this is." At one point, the scene descended into utter chaos. Medical staff rushed in and began administering first aid to their unconscious roommates. The dorm supervisor and the school administrators turned pale as they looked at the mess all over the room. The homeroom teacher notified the parents one by one. Shinja immediately rushed over to Chin Manny, who was slumped on the ground, pulled her into his arms, and glared at me. "Chin Yu, what on earth did you do to Manny?" I held up my phone, keeping the camera steady on the two of them. "What did I do? You should ask her what she did to all of us." The live stream chat was flooded with comments. "Here it comes. The classic knight in shining armor is now available. Is this guy blind in both eyes and heart? Is he still defending that venomous woman? Stay calm, host. The evidence is irrefutable. Let the police deal with them." After examining the pills, a medical staff member said to the school administrators with a grave expression, "Our preliminary assessment is that this is a case of sleeping pill overdose. We must take him to the hospital immediately for gastric lavage. If we wait any longer, even if we manage to save him, he'll suffer brain damage." Gastric lavage. Did you sleep too much? Those few words exploded like a bomb in the ears of the parents of several roommates who had just rushed over upon hearing the news. Zhou Qing's mother was the first to react. She lunged like a madwoman at Chin Manny, who was being shielded in Shinja's arms. "It's you. You little slut, you're the one who did this to my daughter. If anything happens to her, I'll kill you." Mrs. Zhou's hands were long and pointed. Normally, they were probably well manicured, But at that moment, they became the sharpest weapons as she lunged toward Chinmani's face. Chinja instinctively raised his arm to block the blow, and several deep cuts immediately appeared on his arm. Auntie, calm down. We don't know what's going on yet. Got it? How much clearer does it have to be? The whole dorm collapsed, and the only ones who came out unscathed were her and the one you're protecting. Do you think I'm stupid? Li Shue's father was a burly man. His eyes were bloodshot as he grabbed Chinja by the collar. Other parents rushed over as well, and their angry accusations and curses were so loud they nearly blew the roof off. Chinmani hid in Chinja's arms, trembling with fear, and could only repeat one phrase. It wasn't me. I didn't. Chinja was surrounded by several furious parents and looked utterly helpless. Unable to defend himself, he could only turn to me for help. Qin Yu, hurry up and explain it to them. You're fine, aren't you? I leaned against the railing of the top bunk and watched him. What do you want me to explain? That your girlfriend slipped sleeping pills to everyone in the dorm, or that you run around like a little puppy every day delivering milk to her as her accomplice. Chinja hadn't said anything yet. Li Shue's father punched him in the face. He was knocked into the nightstand, and the lamp and glass shattered with a crash, scattering shards all over the floor. I haven't even laid a finger on my daughter in 18 years. You two bastards. Taking advantage of Chinja's fall, Mrs. Zhou went straight around him, grabbed Chinmani by the hair, and dragged her out. Chinmani screamed and clung to the bedpost. Help! Help me! I really didn't do it. Nothing. You're still denying it at this point. A parent no one knew who rushed over and kicked her in the shin. The police officers rushed over to break up the fight, but the parents were so enraged that they simply couldn't be stopped. Zhang Yu's mother picked up the half-broken thermos from the floor and hurled it at Chinmani. The cup whizzed past her ear, leaving a cut on Chinmani's earlobe. Beads of blood trickled down her neck. Chinja got up from the ground, his nose crooked and his mouth full of blood, still shouting, "Stop hitting her. She's just a girl." Li Shue's father slapped him again. Isn't my daughter a girl? The slap was so hard that Chinja spun halfway around and slammed into the doorframe, leaving a bruise on his temple. The hallway was packed with students who had rushed over upon hearing the commotion, and the flashes from their cell phones lit up the room in a flurry. Chinmani was pinned to the ground by Mrs. Zhou, her hair disheveled, with 3 or 4 bloody marks on her face, and snot and tears running down her cheeks. Several police officers forcibly pushed through the furious parents. Everyone, stop. The parents were forcibly pulled apart. Chinmani lay sprawled on the ground like a pile of mud, gasping for breath. Mrs. Zhou pointed at her nose and started yelling at her. You little brat. If my daughter can't pass the exam, don't even think about it either. The police officer reached for his handcuffs. It clasped directly onto Chinmani's wrist. Chinmani frantically broke free and backed away. She clung desperately to the edge of the bed and screamed, I have the college entrance exam tomorrow. I'm a top student. I'm going to get into a top-tier university. The police officer approached her with a stern expression and yanked her to her feet. You've put a whole bunch of roommates in the hospital for gastric lavageury suspected of poisoning. The police took Chinmani, Chinja, and me as a key witness into custody. The other 6 roommates were rushed to the hospital that same night to have their stomachs pumped. As expected, they were all absent from the Chinese exam the next morning. I sat in the exam room, writing furiously. Last time, I was sitting right here, too. At that time, due to staying up all night and being under extreme stress, I had a splitting headache, and my final college entrance exam score was 50 points lower than even my lowest score on the practice tests. Even so, I still ended up being the one they blamed for causing Manny's depression. But now, I feel refreshed and invigorated. As I walked out of the exam hall, I saw reporters waiting at the school gate. The hashtag collective pill taking in a women's dorm on the eve of the college entrance exam has surged to the top of the trending list. That live stream of mine was edited into countless versions and went viral online. I became the sole survivor and hero of this farce. Chinmani has become known as the vicious roommate, and angry netizens have thoroughly dug up her family history going back 3 generations. Chinja, meanwhile, was awarded the title of Most Clueless Guy of the Year. I put on my hat and mask and made my way through the crowd with my head down. Qin Yu. She is Shinja's mother. Zhou Yajing. She was wearing a smart suit and her makeup was flawless. But the weariness and bitterness in her eyes were impossible to hide. Auntie. I stopped in my tracks. Name your price. She said straight to the point. How much would it take for you to go to the police station and change your statemento, say this was just an accident? A joke. A joke. Aunt Zhou. Do you really think the futures of these 6 girls are nothing more than a joke? What do their futures have to do with me? Zhou Yajing sneered. I only care about my son's reputation. He can't be saddled with such a stain because of some foolish woman. Then you should go see Qin Manny's parents. Shouldn't you? The Qin family is finished, she said, curling her lip in disdain. I came to see you to give you a chance. 1 million. All you have to do is issue a statement saying you staged the whole thing yourself to become famous. I'll find the best lawyer to help you, and I guarantee you'll be fine. Here we go again. What if I don't? I asked. No. Zhou Yajing took a step forward and lowered her voice. Qin Yu. Don't forget your dad's still laying bricks on a construction site, and your mom's heart can't take any more stress. Threatening me by using my family. I looked at her well-preserved face. Auntie Zhou. Times have changed. We live in a digital age now. Do you really think money can still silence everyone the way it used to? Besides, it seems like you've got one thing wrong. Your son wasn't ruined by me, nor by Qin Manny. He brought it on himself. As for your threat, I'm waiting. After saying that, I ignored her and turned to blend into the crowd. I continued with my math, science, and English exams. I was completely focused and performed better than ever before. Meanwhile, public opinion regarding the women's dorm poisoning case began to take a new turn thanks to Zhou Yajing's financial clout. Some marketing accounts started stirring up trouble, claiming that I was deeply calculating and had set this whole thing up to get back at my ex-boyfriend Shinsha and my rival Qin Manny. Source. According to an insider, Qin Yu has continued to harass Shinsha since their breakup and harbors a grudge against his new girlfriend. Qin Manny. Technical analysis. The angle of the livestream is too unconventional to be the work of an ordinary student. It appears a professional team may be behind it, a psychology expert stated. Qin Yu behaved too calmly throughout the entire incident, which is inconsistent with the typical stress response of an ordinary girl. She may have an antisocial personality. A barrage of smear pieces has been unleashed, attempting to pull me down from my victim throne and trample me into the mud. Absurd and ridiculous. I ignored all that noise. The night after I finished my last exam, I called my parents. Dad, Mom, let's go on a trip for a few days. My college entrance exams are over, so I'd like to take you out and show you around. On the other end of the line, my mom sounded a little hesitant. Yeah, this is going to cost quite a bit, isn't it? Your dad's working on a construction site. Mom, don't worry about the money. I interrupted her. Just think of it as a little family project. You guys just have fun, leave the rest to me. 2 days later, I took my parents to the coastal city. As soon as they arrived at the hotel, they were so overwhelmed by the opulent lobby that they didn't know where to put their hands or feet. My dad rubbed his hands together, his dark, sallow face betraying his unease. Yeah, this is way too expensive. Dad, you'll just be staying for a few days, I said with a smile as I took their luggage. You've worked hard most of your lives, it's time you enjoyed yourselves a little. I took them to a buffet they'd never tried before, went shopping at a store selling local specialties, bought my mom the gold necklace she'd been talking about for ages, and got my dad a whole new outfit head to toe in designer brands. My mom held that heavy necklace, her eyes reddening. You silly child, where did you get all this money? I said I entered an essay contest, won the grand prize, and received a cash prize of 20,000. I said my live stream had gone viral, and a company wanted to sign me as a streamer, paying me a 50,000 advance as a signing bonus. I talked their ears off, and though they were skeptical at first, when they saw the string of zeros in my bank account, They finally believed me. My dad had had a few drinks. With tears in his eyes, he patted me on the shoulder and said, "My daughter has made something of herself. She really made something of herself." As I looked at the simple, contented smiles on their faces, my heart sank. In my previous life, right up until I died, they never knew what I had been through. All they knew was that their daughter had caused a kind-hearted girl to become depressed, and that she had been labeled a crazy person and Avalanche by others. In this life, I want to make sure they live in style. Just as the three of us were enjoying some quality family time, Zhou Yajing called again. "Qin Yu, I give up. Qinjia has been disciplined by the school. He's received a major demerit on his record, and no college will accept him now. What exactly do you want before you'll let us off the hook?" "Let you off the hook." I walked over to the hotel's floor-to-ceiling windows and looked out at the dazzling night view below. "Auntie Zhou, from start to finish, I've never been the one making things difficult for you. It's you and your precious son who have brought things to this point. Step by step." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "You've achieved your goal, haven't you?" she said through gritted teeth. "Qin Manny has been placed under criminal detention by the police on charges of intentional assault. She'll face at least 3 years in prison. Qinjia's future is ruined, too. Are you satisfied now?" "No," I said. "I'm not satisfied at all. What more do you want?" She practically screamed. "I want you and Qinjia to publicly apologize to me and my family." I said calmly. "You're dreaming. Then there's nothing more to discuss." I was about to hang up. "Wait," she called out to me. "Qin Yu, leave some room for others. We might meet again someday. Pushing us too far won't do you any good either." "Oh, is that so?" I chuckled softly. "Aunt Zhou, it seems you haven't quite grasped the situation yet. We're no longer living in an agrarian society, nor is this an era where having money means you can walk all over people. If you dare lay a finger on my family again, I guarantee that you and Qinjia will spend the rest of your lives under the scorn of the entire nation." My livestream channel now has over 5 million followers. Guess what would happen if I went live and cried about how your family is abusing its power to bully mean innocent little girl Anne? My parents, who live far out in the countryside. You. On the other end of the line, Zhou Yajing's heavy breathing could be heard. It was probably the first time someone had threatened her like this, pointing a finger right in her face. Yet she was completely powerless to fight back. 3 days. I issued my ultimatum. I want to see an apology statement from you and your son on the trending list. It has to stay at the top for at least a week. After saying that, I hung up immediately and blocked her number. Reasoning with people like that is useless. You have to be even more ruthless and unreasonable than she is for her to be afraid of you. When I got back to my room, my parents were already asleep. As I looked at their peaceful sleeping faces, I felt a sense of calm I had never experienced before. The next day, as I expected, the hashtag #ShinFamily's public apology went viral. Zhou Yajing and Qinjia recorded a video. In the video, Zhou Yajing no longer looked as polished as she used to. She appeared haggard. Qinjia had even shaved his head close to the scalp. Looking gaunt and haggard, he faced the camera and read his apology statement word for word. They admitted to threatening me and manipulating public opinion, and offered a formal apology to me, my family, and all the misled netizens. The comments section was filled with mockery. If only I'd known then. Why did I do it in the first place? This apology is so insincere. It's obviously just a PR statement. Serves her right. Her son is blind, and she's no saint either. On the day the college entrance exam results were released, I was showing my parents around a tourist attraction. The call came from the homeroom teacher. His voice was so excited it was breaking. "Qin Yu, 718 points. You're the top science student in our city." My parents were listening nearby and were so excited they were jumping for joy. My mom was so overjoyed she burst into tears and kept hugging me while crying. I calmly accepted the envious glances from passers-by and shared this long-awaited joy with my parents. My status as the top-ranked student has put me back in the trending topics. Interview requests from major media outlets came pouring in. Admissions officers from top universities even called me directly and offered me a variety of generous terms. In the end, I chose Peking University, the nation's finest institution of higher learning and a place I had long dreamed of attending even in my past life. It's not because their scholarships are the highest, but because Peking University has the best journalism program in the country. At the signing ceremony, with countless camera flashes flashing around me, a reporter asked me about my future plans. Why did you choose to major in journalism? I looked into the camera and gave a calm smile. This experience has made me realize that, at times, the pen can be more deadly than a knife, but at the same time, it can also be the most powerful weapon for uncovering the truth and upholding justice. I want to be someone who can use this weapon to help more people who, like I once was, feel helpless, lost, and swept up by public opinion. My speech earned me a round of applause from the entire audience. A new entry titled Qin Yu, the top scholar. A pen can also be a weapon has once again gone viral. I've become an inspirational role model in the eyes of countless students and parents. My live streaming account has surpassed 10 million followers. An MCN agency has offered me an astronomical sum, hoping to turn me into a top influencer in the paid content space. I refused. After setting aside the money I used to buy a house and a car for my parents, I used all the proceeds from my account to establish a public welfare fund dedicated to combating school bullying and cyberbullying. The 6 roommates suffered severe damage to their nervous systems due to a large dose of sleeping pills. They worked tirelessly for 3 years to support their children's education, investing countless amounts of money and energy, only to lose everything in the end. In a fit of anger, Li Shui's father smashed the TV in the hospital room. Every day, the hospital corridors are filled with the curses of parents. The school had no choice but to send someone to calm them down and offered to waive their tuition for the year they would have to repeat. As a result, Zhou's mother pointed her finger right at the school administrator and berated him. No tuition. Who's going to compensate my daughter for her lost youth? Just as things were getting out of hand in the ward, Zhou Yajing stepped in again. She took all her frustration out on me. She quietly sent someone to the hospital, where they found her roommates who were suffering from a mental breakdown and their parents. After several attempts at incitement, this group actually managed to unite. They want to pin all the blame for missing the college entrance exam on me alone. A day later, a video suddenly appeared online. In the video, my 6 roommates are wearing hospital gowns and sitting in a row on hospital beds. Zhou Qin cried as she accused me on camera. Qin, you clearly knew there was something wrong with that medicine. Why didn't she stop us? Li Shui stood nearby, covering her face and sobbing. She even went out of her way to start a live stream just to watch us make fools of ourselves. She was so determined to be the top student in the province that she didn't even care that we missed the college entrance exam. She's the most vicious person of all. The video was edited very professionally, accompanied by highly evocative, mournful music. Zhou Yajing hired a large number of online trolls to push this video to the top of the trending list. Netizens are always easily swayed by the plight of the underdog. It's really creepy when you think about it, knowing there's something wrong with the medicine, yet still watching others take it. This top-ranked scholar is indeed very calculating, a classic example of someone who harms others for their own gain. Couldn't they have at least given a heads up? The futures of 6 girls have been ruined just like that. Boycott Qin Yu. Someone with such character doesn't deserve to attend Peking University. We strongly urge Peking University to revoke her admission. Public opinion came crashing down on me like a tsunami. My parents were so upset by the negative reviews online that they were in tears. Yeah. What are we going to do? My mom clutched my hand tightly. I patted the back of her hand. Mom, don't be afraid. I turned on my computer and looked at those 6 faces that had once been my constant companions, but now seemed utterly repulsive. What an ungrateful person. In my previous life, I fought tooth and nail to get them to have their stomachs pumped, saving their futures. Yet when Chen Manny turned the tables on me, they joined in mocking me for minding other people's business, and even stood by and watched as I was pushed down the stairs. In this life, I let them swallow the poison they chose for themselves. Yet they still blame me for not stepping in as their savior. In this world, never try to wake someone who is pretending to sleep. I didn't go easy on them. I posted the replays of my nightly live streams leading up to the college entrance exam directly on Weibo. How did they exclude and isolate me while currying favor with Chinmani? The people who had been criticizing me earlier immediately turned their guns on someone else. Holy crap. That's so frustrating. Kind words can't persuade a damned ghost if you bring it on yourself. Who can you blame? If I were there, I'd want to call the police right away to have these weirdos arrested. Chin, you did the right thing. We can't just sit around and wait for this bunch of lunatics to kill us. Peking University's official account also reposted my evidence at that time. The caption consists of just one short sentence. We should protect every student who stands firm for the truth in the face of adversity. The official endorsement immediately settled the matter. Those roommates and Zhou Yajing's plans came to nothing. Half a month later, the court held a hearing on Chinmani's case of intentional injury. She stood in the dock, her hair cut very short, her eyes vacant. The prosecution presented all the evidence. Not only did she give the entire dorm an overdose of sleeping pills, but she even searched online for how to drive someone insane. Faced with overwhelming evidence, she couldn't even muster a word of defense. As the gavel fell, Chinmani was sentenced to 5 years in prison for intentional assault. The moment she heard the verdict, she fainted right there in the courtroom. Her parents were in the gallery, weeping uncontrollably. After being discharged from the hospital, my 6 roommates found themselves in an extremely awkward situation due to the damage caused by the medication. They experience headaches and insomnia every day. My brain has clearly slowed down. I can't even solve algebra problems from my freshman year of high school anymore. Zhou Qing's mother refused to give in and insisted that her daughter repeat the year at the most expensive private high school in the city. After paying 100,000 yuan in tuition, Zhou Qing had been attending classes for less than a month when she scored last in her class on the placement exam. Unable to handle the stress, she tore up her exam paper in the classroom and was asked to leave the school. Li Shui's situation was even worse. Her family's financial situation was already modest to begin with, and they had already spent all their savings on her medical treatment. In a fit of anger, her father enrolled her in a local vocational high school. Li Shui, who used to be arrogant and spent every day dreaming of getting into a top university, now finds herself hanging out with a bunch of delinquent girls. As for Xinjie and Zhou Yajing, their comeuppance was not long in coming. In an effort to clear her precious son's name, Zhou Yajing spent a fortune hiring a public relations team and pulled strings everywhere to find him a school, but no one dared to admit a student with a history of misconduct who had been involved in a poisoning incident. Xinjie's father is also a tough competitor in the business world. Upon learning that my wife and son had caused such a major scandal, which led to a sharp drop in the company's stock price and resulted in heavy losses, he kicked Zhou Yajing and Xinjie right out of the house and cancelled all their credit cards. Zhou Yajing, who had always lived a life of luxury, found herself penniless overnight. She and Xinjie were renting a rundown apartment. Xinjie couldn't stand this contrast, so he spent his days at home throwing things and hitting people. That once gentle and refined rich kid has turned into a hot-tempered good-for-nothing. One time, after getting drunk, he got into a fight with someone at a street food stall. When the other person smashed a wine bottle down on him, his left retina detached, leaving him partially blind. To raise money for his medical bills, Zhou Yajing took a job as a cleaning lady. Long gone was the haughty attitude she once had when she threatened me. When I went home for winter break during my freshman year, I ran into Xinjie handing out flyers at the subway entrance. I didn't even feel like giving him a second glance. I walked straight through the warm entrance of the mall. God will take care of scum like that. I don't need to get my hands dirty.